This is a rebuke to the Torah feasting, sacrificial law keeping women that claim to have to know Paleo Hebrew like Ruach HaKodesh and Matatiyahu and Yochanan and all of this Paleo Hebrew that, by the way, will be destroyed when the earth is destroyed, because Jehovah God is going to restore the new pure language in the kingdom, Zephaniah 3:9. So you guys are putting a burden and a yoke on people today that not even your forefathers could bear. Because Yeshua came to take away that yoke, that burden, that sacrificial law, 600 plus laws, because your forefathers couldn't bear them. So if your forefathers couldn't bear them, what on earth makes you think that you could bear them? Especially now in 2025, where the entire earth is polluted with sin, wickedness, evil, and idolatry. So this is the rebuke for you guys, because you're spoken of, and there's a rebuke to you in the book of Acts chapter 15, where there's a sect of the Pharisees who believed in Yeshua. And that's you guys. You guys believe in Yeshua. You know the Messiah. You know his real name, whether you call him Yahusha, Yehoshua, Yeshua, same thing. It means salvation. Use what you want to use. You can call him Joshua in English. Just don't call him Jesus, because that's not his name. Call him Joshua, call him Yeshua, call him Yehoshua, call him Yahusha, call him Yahushua. Okay, whatever. Don't impose your language and the way you want to say things on people when they're saying the right name, when they're saying salvation. As long as they're not saying Jesus, they're fine. But then you guys come in and you're the word police and you're like, no, you have to say Yahushua and Ruach HaKodesh. No, you fucking don't. That is a burden that you're placing on people, again, that not even your forefathers could bear. Okay, so there's a huge rebuke to you, Torah feaster, sacrificial law, zit wearing Paleo Hebrew women in Acts 15. A sect of the Pharisees who believed in Yeshua were also putting a burden on people, telling them that they had to be circumcised and keep the whole law of Moses. And Paul was going to those people and writing letters to those people saying, I'm writing to you and those because of those that have troubled you. Who is troubling the Gentiles, spiritual Israel today? You people. You're telling them that they have to keep the whole law and they have to feast. And they have to say Yehoshua and Ruach HaKodesh and Matatiyahu. You guys believe in Yeshua. You believe the Messiah. And I say believe with quotes because you don't really believe. You don't really believe in what the Messiah came to do. You don't really believe in Yeshua. Because if you did, then you would know what the Messiah came to do. And what he came to do was take away that burden. He nailed the handwritten ordinances, the law of Moses, to the stake. Colossians 2:14, John 19:30. He said, it is finished. This book of the law is finished. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. You don't have to keep the sacrificial law. You don't have to feast in polluted lands, which was a commandment given even before Yeshua. It was by God in Leviticus and Deuteronomy 12 and Deuteronomy 16. But you guys forget to overlook that. Or you don't forget, your pride just gets in the way and you're like, oh no, but I am the temple. He is dwelling in me. So I can do the feast here in Mystery Babylon, America, where it's polluted with idolatry. You're not doing it to the full instruction. You're not keeping the feast exactly as they're supposed to be kept. You're not sacrificing the animals. You're not killing the animal on the day of and sacrificing it on the day of. Take away that whole thing. Either way, his name isn't placed anywhere. It's not even placed in you because you're not keeping the law as you're supposed to. Because you're not fulfilling the royal law. Because you're not looking for your lost brothers and sisters of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Because you're feeding your own belly. Because you're being gluttonous and prideful. You're saying, look at me, look at me. I know how to keep the feast. No, you don't. Some of you keep it 1 week. Some of you keep it another week. Some of you keep it on Tuesday. Some of you keep it on Wednesday. It's ridiculous. You're supposed to keep it exactly as it's written. And if you're not going to keep it exactly as it's written, don't do it. And again, you're not even supposed to do it because you're not in the land and Yah isn't with you. So you're not supposed to do feast at all. You're not supposed to be feasting. You're supposed to be lamenting. Lamentation, mourning, and woe. Why? Because you know the destruction that's about to come to the earth and you're not doing anything about it. Instead of going to warn your brothers and sisters and rebuking them in their sin, Leviticus 19, you want to be a respecter of persons. You seek the preeminence of men. You say, it's okay if you don't keep the feast. I'll keep them. It's okay if you keep a dawn to dawn Sabbath. I keep a evening to evening Sabbath, but it's okay as long as you're keeping the Sabbath, as long as you're keeping the feast. You sound just like the apostate Christians that say, oh, I don't keep the Sabbath because Jesus is my rest, but it's okay if you keep the Sabbath. You're literally no better. You are worse. You're worse because you, again, are the Acts 15 Pharisee sect that believed in Yeshua, but you also wanted to place the burden on people. You want to tell people that they have to keep the sacrificial law, that they have to wear tzitzit, or, I don't know what's worse, you don't open your mouth at all. You just feed your own belly. You keep your talents to yourself. You're supposed to be the unjust steward, and you're supposed to give out your talent for free. You were supposed to be the young rich ruler that sold all he had, that sold his life, gave up his life to go look for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, but you're not doing any of that. Or again, you're just feeding your own belly. Just because you want to look like you know it all. Like you're so godly and, oh my gosh, I know Yahuwah and Yehoshua, and oh, I figured out the lunar calendar, and oh, the Sabbath is actually on this new moon here. It's on Tuesday this week, and then next week it's on Wednesday, and blah. It's like literally the burden that Yeshua came to take away. You just overlook it. So you're actually worse than the Pharisees in Acts 15 because you really just don't believe the Messiah. You don't believe what he came to do. You don't believe what he prophesied to do. You say, oh, well, he kept the feast and he kept the whole law. So I'm living exactly as Yeshua lived. He taught you mercy, not sacrifice. The knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. Luke 1:72, Deuteronomy 4:13, Hosea 6:6-7. He came to perform the mercy. And then his death was representative of what you were supposed to kill also, which is the sacrificial law. And then just keep the 10 Commandments and the rainbow covenant, which is expounded on in Leviticus and Deuteronomy with the dietary laws, but it was initiated in Genesis chapters 6-9, making a difference between the clean and the unclean animals. So for those of you that are like, oh, they just like, yeah, they're partial to the law because they want to keep the dietary laws, but they don't want to keep the feast. No, I want to keep the rainbow covenant because it's the covenant of promise in Ephesians 2. I want to keep eating clean because it's the rainbow covenant in Genesis and expounded on in Leviticus and Deuteronomy with the dietary laws. But it was instated in Genesis. But you guys overlooked that. And then you say we're partial to the law. We're not partial to the law. We're obedient to the law because we only follow one law now, the law of God, the 10 Commandments, and fulfill the royal law, which is part of the law of God. Because how are you supposed to fulfill the royal law, loving your neighbor as yourself, Leviticus 19:15-18, if you yourself aren't keeping the 10 Commandments? How am I supposed to rebuke sin if I'm still sinning? How am I supposed to take the speck out of my brother's eyes if I still have the speck in my eye? No, obviously. So obviously the royal law is part of the law of God, 10 Commandments. So I received the Messiah and what he came to do, and I acknowledge what he came to do and the burden that he took away. You're supposed to be the unjust steward. You're supposed to write a check for half. Keep the 10 Commandments, go tell others to do the same. Of course, the rainbow covenant. The holy covenant, the 10 Commandments, the rainbow covenant, eating clean. But no, you want to keep the whole law. And you don't even do it right. You just pick and choose what you want to do. Just like the apostate Christians that pick and choose what they want to do. You're worse. It will be worse for you. You are lukewarm. You were supposed to be hot. You were the many called, few chosen. You were the few chosen. But you went off the straight and narrow and you went to the right. And now you covet after Judah, house of Judah, which are your modern day Jews, Jews. You covet after them. You go after the wind of Judah, as prophesied you would. And as prophesied will happen, you will enter into the tribulation. You will hopefully repent in tribulation and become a tribulation saint and help those that are around you and say, oh, wow, I really fucked up, didn't I? I was just supposed to keep the law of God, not the sacrificial law that Yeshua, the burden that he came to take away. I wasn't supposed to keep that. Oh, shit. So hopefully you do repent. And hopefully you realize that before tribulation so you don't have to go into the tribulation.